The best way to do this is when you do sales calls and you've got these people, like, okay, this is a problem aware person, this is a cold person. You mark that and you keep all that information. And then that copy becomes your next post that you start making, right? The clarity calls become your content. The clarity calls become your content.
I've been struggling to, because like I was talking about how people have like thought leader isn't making the connection, but also
Yeah.
people are reluctant to call themselves experts. So like using that expert language has not really worked in the way that I would that I would like. So I think this is a good way for me to just make it, I guess, easier to understand or something that people can raise their hand for.
Yes.
Um,
Because, yeah,
so
because the answer to your question that is a really great question about content is you want to think of it about like this. Marketing, it's like this. This is the way I like to see it. It's two different things, right? So meaning this point A, this is marketing, this is any copywriting, this is any sales, copywriting, this is any messaging like signatures, your signature in your email, anything like any messaging on any platform, any marketing on any platform, any copywriting on any platform, point A to point B. So what I mean by that is point A is where they are, that they have the wrong problem. Okay.
mhm.
So this is always the wrong problem. So you can't forget that they're going to have the wrong problem. And then where they want to be is so, and we're still going to use the same thing they said. Like you said, not making the money, and then you said not knowing how to get people. So notice that oftentimes when they say this, like they're not talking about, oh, like I don't actually know how to do sales, but you know that sales is an
Mhm.
issue,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Or they don't mention, oh, I don't know how to prospect, but they don't know how to prospect. Like
Right.
these are all the things. But so it's all marketing. So point A, point B, and they want to make 10K months, but being what? Like if you could say this more specifically in their words, what do they want to make? So if they, yes, 10K months is more money, but how to get, what would you call that in their words? Like, would you say like authority would work with them if thought leader doesn't? Does authority work with them?
I feel like authority is closer to, I mean, I've heard that, but also I feel like, especially for, because I also get a lot of people who are still working 9 to 5, but just trying to break out. So I think that that's a good connection word.
Good. Yeah, that's a really good one then, right? So authority. And then you can use that in your messaging, like how to break out from your 9 to 5 to really, make the money you always know you were meant to make, making, inside of this. So that would be really good copy there. But what I wanted to tell you the most is when you are using any kind of content. So to answer your question directly, what you want to be doing is only talking them from point A to point B. You don't want to at all talk up to them from here. So here is once they join your program and now they understand the right problem. Now you can talk to them with a little bit of the right problem. That's okay. But you don't want to go into all using jargon and language that they don't understand. Even if they understand the problem, they don't really, haven't really gone on the journey, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. So let me say that just a little bit differently. So there is problem aware people, and then there is cold people. Like cold people meaning like and we don't want the real cold where they have no idea they even have a problem, but we're talking about the cold people that they know there's something wrong but they don't really know what it is. Problem aware people are people who like, I know that I need to be posting more and I need to be an authority, but I just don't feel like I can do that. So it depends on where, and you might get a combination of both. Do you feel that that's accurate?
Yes.
Yeah. So based on that, then can you see to do content, you would switch on and off from problem aware and only speak to one problem aware person inside of that content. And then on the next one, when they're colder, right, where they don't really know, only talk to that person, right? And the best way to do this is when you do sales calls and you've got these people, like, okay, this is a problem aware person, this is a cold person, you mark that and you keep all that information. And then that copy becomes your next post that you start making, right? The clarity calls become your content. The clarity calls become your content. Is that making
So,
sense?
like answering their questions or addressing their concerns, the clarity calls in my content.
Like it'll go like this, right? So I'm going to give you an as an example, and we can always look at my content because Michael does helps me out on that part too, so we can look at my social media and so forth. But I'm just going to give you like I'll give you some examples of it. So as an example of it is this, right? So several things, right? We've got in messaging on social media and creating content, we always have a hook is the first thing, okay? And think about it like this is all about great copy is for the prospect to feel seen, heard, and understood. Okay. So it's not about us, it's about the prospect, right? So staying in the market, the bucket of is this for you when you're writing content, you have to stay in the bucket. Is this a problem aware person? And then when you write, you only write to one person on one topic. I'll show you what I mean by that, right? Is this a problem aware person, or is this a cold person who doesn't know the real problem? So that when you're picking it and you pick one person, you're going to write one thing like an aim, right? Kind of thing, one container all the way through. So it lands for that person. So the first is we have a hook. Then as an example, we have a problem. And then we have a consequence of that problem. And then there's a new way that we're showing them. We want to give value, show them a new way, and then like speak about the benefit of that new way, and then a call to action, okay, as an example. Okay. So if you follow this format, the biggest thing that I want to give you is think about it like this. And this is what I want you guys to all feel. Like I drop it down, I put everything down in the right piece. Like I pick a couple hooks, I pick one problem that I want to answer. Okay. I pick one problem, a couple hooks that could be great ideas of like how to hook them to read that, but one problem, one that then shows the consequence of that problem, one new way, one benefit, one call to action. Okay.